All right, my people, you know how much we love you, and you know how much Stravacraft coffee loves you, but they haven't been feeling the love from you as much lately. So they've decided to up the ante a little bit. Decided to up the offer a little bit. They said, you know what? Maybe it's us. Maybe it's not them. We're gonna throw them a little more of a spicy deal here to see if we can entice them a little bit more. So they're throwing you 25% off your next order. That's DNVR25 is the code. You can get 25% off your next order of Stravacraft coffee. If you haven't tried it, it is rich, tasty CBD infused coffee that can help you with so many different ailments. So check out the reviews. You'll be blown away by people's stories and what it's done for them. And you're really going to enjoy this Stravacraft coffee. Again, the code is DNVR25. That's up from DNVR20. So do not miss out on this. It's their single best offer yet. Oh, hello. Welcome into another edition of Three Ring Circus. Now, we were expecting to have a five-man panel here. It is the draft spectacular after all. We had big plans for bringing on the entirety of the DNVR draft pod team, but unfortunately, we've lost one of our men out there.
I mean, today is truly a circus, guys, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be off the walls, and it already is off the walls. And we have one of our men, Hank, chiming in the comment section.
Sad face Hank. What can we do? He had a lot of technical difficulties. We did everything we could to save him, but in the end, he was DOA. But we do have our guy Andre Simone here, and that's like 30% as good as Andre and Hank.
Oh wow!
Oh, come on! Wow,
Jay, do you still want to roll with us for this first segment?
Frankly, not really, but I put my Hawaiian shirt on, so I'm ready to
go. Wow, he held off that reveal for several minutes.
Yes,
indeed. That is my boy right there. I love that, Dre.
Well, I've changed my mind entirely because Henry only had a T-shirt with palm trees on it. I was like, oh, he's the one really bringing it here. But no, it was Dre all along.
Well, he tried. I mean, but Dre's got the better effort there going on there. That is a nice shirt, Dre. You got it.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right.
We've got helloing people surfing, so the vibe is correct.
That's a great vibe. Are you going to keep that on for bets later today?
I would love to, but are you going to keep yours on for bets later?
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Well, what are we putting the odds for that? Is that just an even plus 100? You know, we got to throw some bets out here.
That's like plus 400 for me to wear this shirt for the rest of the day.
Oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to entice me, but you are making the line, so you're going to then just take my money.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's just like I'm gonna hang out at the bar after bets on something that Dre wouldn't be familiar with, and so I want to have like some Nugs gear on.
Shots after shots.
Yeah. All right.
But in both ways. I mean, you're throwing shots, and maybe after bets, you're taking shots.
Yeah, I might do. I mean, someone in the comments said Henry should take one right now. So why wouldn't we might as well just all get on that train. 10 a.m. on Friday. It's 10 a.m.'s the new 4 a.m. Yeah, 10 a.m.'s the new 4 p.m. It's like the tailgate,
Exactly. Oh, man. I can't wait.
Okay. So, in honor of the draft, we've talked a lot about trade-up scenarios, trade-down scenarios, all these things that we kind of expect to happen. At least I speak for myself here, but I think a lot of people feel the same way. As the Broncos staying at 9 seems like the least likely scenario of trade-up, trade-down, or stay at 9. And so we've done these mock drafts, the live mocks, where we went through and, mocked the picks to 9. Didn't do trade ups or trade downs in those, and we thought, all right, for the final 3 ring circus before the draft, let's get in and really dive into trade up, trade down scenarios and maybe make a little game out of it. So, Zach, why don't you explain the game that you have created here?
All right. I am Howie Mandel. Do I look like him right now? Do I look good? Because we are playing Deal or No Deal. Oh, man, it breaks my heart to see Hank's face on this graphic, but not have him in here. But the show must go on. This is the biz right here. And guys, so here's what we're going to do. We have 5 different scenarios, and in each scenario, I'm going to tell you who is available on the board, either the Broncos picking at 9 or the Broncos trying to move up, and then I'm going to give you one deal that is presented. You have to take it or leave it right there because the other team is hanging up the phone and you can't call them back once you say deal or no deal. Then I'll present you another scenario. If you want that one, if you want that trade, you can take it or leave it. You can't go backward. And then I'll present you a third scenario. And who knows? Maybe it's better. Maybe it's worse. And as we go along, one player from the best available, of course, is going to go off the board. So are you going to end up with the $1 million briefcase at the end, or are you going to end up with the $1 briefcase? Let's find out right now.
All right, I love this. So just to clarify here, sorry to derail your perfect.
Yeah,
tease.
You just destroyed showbiz right there.
So who all is participating? Is it just Dre or do Mason?
No,
get a crack at this too?
Of course it's all 3 of you, and then at the end we'll see who has the best deal at the end of each one.
So any one of us at any time could say, I want that deal.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, you can. And you could all take the deal as well, one deal. All right, so here's what we have. This is a trade back scenario. You have Rashawn Slater, Patrick Surtain, Mac Jones, and Jalen Waddle all available. So the other 4 quarterbacks, boom, off the board right here. So you're getting a first call is coming in from New England. They're sitting at 15. They've got their eyes presumably set on Mac Jones. Guys, the deal from New England that's coming in, they're offering their first round pick, and they're offering something else, which our producer Kale will help me with in just a second. They are offering, okay, I'm going to have to go in the back end to figure this one out, what they're offering. They are offering a 2022 first round pick, guys. So 15 and next year's first to move up. You guys taking it?
Wait, let me just clarify something here. Each time that you go through one of these, you can accept the deal.
No, you are. So you get one deal for all 3 of these teams. If you accept one, you're done.
But what I'm saying is, then we get to start all over again. Then the next time,
exactly.
I'm taking this deal.
Okay. Wow.
I like this. I like this deal. You're getting a future first from a team that I don't think is going to be very good this year. So give them Mac Jones, and then laugh your way to the bank.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that George Paton would feel this way, but for me, especially if Mac Jones is the last quarterback on the board, I am not moving down for anything less than a deal that gets me the first round pick next year.
And a top 15 this year, not bad either. This is the thing about deal or no deal, though, that first offer might seem enticing, but you don't know what's in the next briefcase. So no deal for me.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it, Dre. And you're absolutely right.
You got a crazy team lurking there right after New England as well.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's very true. All right, let's move on. Mace and RK are out. You can also, of course, chime in, though. Next one, Washington offering 1974 and next year's first. Dre, well, Ryan and Mace, I got to ask, do you think that this is a better deal? Do you think you should have waited?
No, the reason why is because you have that number 15 pick. And I think that if you love what's there, then you're going to be happy that you got whoever your guy was at 15. But you can also trade back from 15 to 22 and come away with even more capital. So I'm not kicking myself quite yet that I didn't take that deal. But it also depends on what happens when 15 comes up on the board.
And there's a legit possibility if the Broncos go down to 15 that they do trade again. That would not shock me at all if they end up picking in the 20s and George Paton really does go into asset accumulation mode. And also, I mean, of New England and Washington, who do you think is going to be worse next year? I mean, New England's got a bunch of players coming back, of course, from opt-outs. They still have Bill Belichick coaching them, but Washington is in a crap division. New England could improve and still be a third-place team. Washington might once again finish first in the NFC East with a modest record, which means they're picking no sooner than 19 again.
So you guys are, thinking about it in the way the Broncos do. But guys, I have to remind you, this game is not deal or no deal, and then maybe another deal or two to help yourself out. No. Deal or no deal. So no more trading back. Dre, do you like this more than what you passed up on?
I think it's basically the same. It does come down to what Mace just said. Who's going to have the better record? Who has a better chance of making the playoffs next year? That makes the New England deal slightly better. I already said no deal to that. I'm saying no deal to this.
Oh, boom. Let's go.
Wow.
All right. Dre putting it all out there for this last one. Pittsburgh offers.
Pittsburgh with no H.
Yes, Pittsburgh offers this year's pick, number 24, 2022 first round pick, and a 2023 second round pick. Dre, you can take this offer, or you can pick Slater, Surtain, Mac Jones, or Jalen Waddle.
Tis a tough one. Certainly is a tough one. You like those two future picks there. 24, actually, I might prefer the range I'm in there than 15-19. But it's a no deal. I am taking Patrick Surtain.
Love it. And so, Dre, after you've gone through all of these, do you feel the best? That like you got the best option with Patrick Surtain, or do you feel like you should have stopped somewhere?
No, I should have took the first offer. Clearly the best offer. I sold a $500,000 briefcase and ended up with like a $50K briefcase. So not my greatest day.
You're leaving Los Angeles with some cash still, so it's not bad. But you're certainly not flying first class home.
Yep. You can say that again. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, I love that. Henry says Dre lost. I'm sorry, Dre.
Yeah, and Patrick Surtain's probably. Patrick Surtain might still be there at 15 when Mace and I are picking.
Yeah, it's very true.
That I'm not so sure.
All right, guys, here's another scenario which could happen with the Broncos at 9. Not likely, but it could happen. All right, you have Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Devontae Smith on the board at 9. And guys, because there's multiple quarterbacks, you got teams calling left and right. New England picking up the phone because Mac Jones is gone, but they don't care. They're offering same deal that they were last time, number 15 and a 2022 first.
So I'm going to pass on this one this time because I think the further that you go back with these options on the board, the more that you're going to get in value. For some, exactly. And I was going to say for some odd reason you're not picking here, but then I realized that's an option too. So no deal. You're really going to have to knock my socks off here.
Mace?
No deal. I mean, I'm looking at I'm looking at the guys who are available, and I'm doing backflips with the guys who are on the board right now. There are two quarterbacks that I like, and I haven't had to make a trade up. I mean, I'm pretty much to the point where unless any of these deals are getting into New Orleans Saints for Ricky Williams territory, I'm not dealing.
Dre, you passed up on this one last time. You taking it?
This is a classic deal or no deal board where the right side of the board is left. You have a lot of 6 digits still available. This is the first offer, and you say no, thank you, no deal.
Dre has clearly watched a lot of Deal or No Deal.
Of course. How could you not? Now, I don't find it as interesting because I play Deal or No Deal on the DraftKings app with my buyouts every single day. Used to find it fascinating, though.
I want to have a parlay that's so big that I actually get a call from the man in the booth that's like willing to negotiate with me.
And
who was
he's in the glass box looking down at you.
Yes, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Darren Rovell had a ticket for Northwestern to win the Big Ten, and then when they were playing at Ohio State, they actually did this, like a real deal or no deal scenario with whatever sportsbook he was sponsored by, and they were literally calling him, making offers, and he was like that, just trying to decide. It was amazing. It was such good content.
So what happened? Did he end up taking a deal?
Well, so he had bet what was it, $1,000 to win 300,000 or something. Like, it was crazy. And he ended up taking like 100K.
Okay,
like, he got an amazing deal. And then they lost.
Yep. So he definitely played that right. And let's see if you guys are playing your cards right. Chicago, they are desperate for one of these guys. They're giving you this year's first round pick. They're giving you number 83, and they're giving you next year's first round pick. And guys, in my opinion, I'm trying to sell you on this one. This may be the most valuable future first round pick that we've seen on the board.
The problem is I'm already walking to the stand to pass in my card of who I'm drafting. So again, you've got to like run and and you're just throwing picks at me, just trying to stop me from getting up there. So no deal.
Mace?
Not even close. Not even close. No deal.
Dre?
Yeah. It's a no deal with Fields and Lance. You need a little more.
Let's see if
one thing I would consider here is if there was a team at 10, 11, 12 here with two quarterbacks on the board, I might be more enticed, but again, not doing it for me.
All right, let's see if Washington can trip you on your way to the podium. They're offering a first-round pick this year. They're offering number 62, and they're offering next year's first-round pick. I don't think that this is going to stop any of you guys.
No.
All right, so then I got to ask you. I mean, is it a unanimous no?
Yes.
No deal. So then what is the pick? Which briefcase are you picking up and taking home? Is it Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or the Heisman winner?
For me, I got to stick to my board here. As we went through yesterday, we ranked our quarterbacks. I have Trey Lance as my number 2 quarterback on the board, so I'm taking Trey.
Yep. Same with me. Stick with the board, except my board has Fields ahead of Lance, so I'm going Justin Fields.
And Dre, break the tie for us.
The beauty, if this was really deal or no deal style, would then be we said no deal. We have to open our briefcases, and one of us might end up with Devontae Smith and be a big loser. But that's not how we're playing.
Bad. Still better than these deals.
I would go with stick to my board and go with Fields, though. Man, I would be enticed by Lance, but no. Fields,
oh, holy cow! Man, Hank, you got to chime in here, because if it's me, I'm with Ryan. I'm going Trey Lance as well. Hank, save us. Who are you going with, Justin Fields or Trey Lance? Well, let's see if he is still listening, as he promised us he would.
This is a moment of truth.
Well, we'll go on to the next one.
We got it.
Let's go.
All right, Ryan, we got beat there, but I think you guys all won in that scenario. All right, one more trade down deal. So here's who we have on the board. We have Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons, and Rashawn Slater. No quarterbacks, guys. 5 quarterbacks have gone in the top 8 picks. So let's see what you guys want to do. First trade offer coming in from Miami. They're calling you with the 18th pick, and they are giving you with the 20th pick. They're giving you number 20 and number 50. So you're getting this year's first and a second round pick to move back.
Okay, no deal for me.
Easy.
No deal.
Easy. Dre's
hammering calculations into the trade value chart.
Honestly, we're losing a bit of value, about 50 points on the trade value chart. I fear that Miami will be our best offer, and that with this board as it stacks, you don't want to stay put. I can't sacrifice value though. No deal.
Oh, boom. Love it. Love it. All right. Minnesota is calling George Paton's old friend. They're offering number 14, number 78, and a 2022 fifth. So you're not getting as much in return, but you're only having to move back 5 spots. Ryan?
I want to move back as far as possible. No deal.
All right. Mace?
I'm tempted because I could trade down again, but I'm passing.
Oh, okay. Dre, are you going against the grain here?
It's still no deal. It's
No
still,
deal. Oh,
yeah.
guys, I think you may be rewarded greatly for this one. Green Bay coming in with number 29, number 62, and a 2022 first round pick.
Wow.
But I do have to remind you guys are going back all the way to 29 here.
Mhm.
Are you still doing this deal with an extra first round pick thrown in?
Yeah, I'm taking this deal, and the guys on DNVR Draft Day Live are gonna hate me because when I get to 29, I'm probably going back again. Look, I've said this a lot. I honestly don't love that many players. Like once you get past the quarterbacks and the offensive skill players, I'm not in love with that many people here. So I want to go back as far as I can, stack up as much value as I possibly can, I'm happy about this.
I love this deal, and one of the things that I like about it, if we're thinking a few moves ahead, is it's entirely possible that if things go a certain way, that 2022 first round pick might be being sent back to Green Bay a year from now in some kind of mega deal that involves Aaron Rodgers coming to Denver.
Wow, that would be something. But now, as Tripp reminds us in the comment section, says, Green Bay will pick late, so don't forget. So in this mega deal, that first round pick may not be worth that much. I mean, they may be picking 29. We know they're not going to be picking 32, so you don't have to worry about that. But, they may be around that 29 spot. Dre?
Yeah, even if it's a late first, you're still essentially just with the 2 first rounds you're recouping alone. It's essentially even value, and then you're adding a late second. So this is by far the better value pick. Also, I think the board's going to line up pretty nicely with some talented running backs, offensive tackles, edge rushers, right in that sweet spot at 29. So yes, I'm taking this deal, and I'm quite happy with this one. We got tricky there waiting this one out, but we were actually rewarded. So deal, fine.
Did you guys catch George Paton though yesterday saying maybe there could be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round?
Yes.
So
maybe it's this deal. Maybe George Paton accepts to move down to 29 and everyone's saying, oh, well, there's any shot of a quarterback or anything like that. And then the Broncos surprised by getting Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, anyone?
No.
I'd be intrigued by Mond, Kyle Trask, Davis Mills. No thank you to both of them.
Yeah. I'm not taking anyone whose name is 1 letter away from trash.
Well,
yeah. Well, he's kind of trash his mobility. I mean, gosh. I mean, yeah. Davis Mills and Kyle Trask look like quarterbacks from another era for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind either, especially Trask, but that would be with the 62nd pick. That would still be a round or two too early. With the 29th pick, I mean, just take that pick and just, send it off to the moon if you're going to use it on Kyle Trask. Like, it would be as valuable that way. Or just ask for Jordan Love in this trade. Right.
Yep.
I mean, then let's just swap. Don't give me 29, just give me Jordan Love if that's what we're doing.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. That's better,
that would be terrible.
That'd be fun.
Though.
That'd be a lot of fun.
No, it would not be.
Or ring up, Brett Hundley and Gardner Minshew and all the other quarterbacks that are as good as Kyle Trask or Davis Mills, and you can get them without sacrificing.
Can't do I'm admitting my bias here. I literally can't look at a college quarterback with loose sleeves. Like Davis Mills just looks like such a clown out there.
All right. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, guys, there may be a deal to go the other way, to go up. And so
Let's
that's what we're
go.
talking about here. We've got two scenarios for you guys. So right now, the number 3 pick just went, and it was Justin Fields. So what we've got on the board, we've got Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Kyle Pitts, and Penny Sewell. I mean, a stacked board here. And Atlanta says, we're open to moving back, but here's what we demand from you.
Hang on. So, Zach, is there going to be more players that go off the board as we make our way toward? Okay, just making sure.
Okay.
Yep. And the board won't change. It'll stay like this. This graphic will stay the same, but I'm going to be picking them off.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what Atlanta is demanding for an instant trade to happen. They're offering, or they demand 9 this year, 40 this year. So second round pick, a 2022 first round pick, and a 2022 second. So they're saying, give me your first and second round picks this year and next year.
Wow. Oh man, that hurts.
And you know why this price is so high, guys, is because they know the Broncos aren't that high on Mac Jones. They know that there's one guy that the Broncos want, and the Broncos need this guy if they want a quarterback.
There is literally zero chance of George Paton taking this deal.
What about Andrew Mason?
Exactly.
Man. I don't like the thing is, I don't like 2 years of seconds as well as 2 years of firsts. So I am.
Hey, they're fine.
No,
they're fine saying no deal. They're fine moving on.
I'm saying no deal.
Okay.
What
Ryan
about Andre Simone? I've got first every time.
So I think essentially everything's on the line right here. The choice is take this trade and get Trey Lance, or just say no deal all the way through and be happy with whoever lands in your lap, whether that's Pitts, Mac Jones, or Sewell. I'm taking the deal. We're getting Trey Lance. Let's
go. All right. I love it. Ryan, are you which one are you following? You following Mace or you following Dre?
Look, man, I always say this. If you love the guy, go get him. There's no reason to fiddle around, mess around, cross your fingers, none of that crap. If you like the guy, if you love the guy, you go and get him. And I'm with Mace. The Broncos probably don't take this deal, but that's because Ryan Koenigsberg isn't their GM. I love Trey Lance. I want Trey Lance. Deal.
Done deal. All right. Broncos are getting Trey Lance. And you know what? In this scenario, though, guys, there's one player that's taken, and it's not a trade. The Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts, meaning at number 5 on the board, you still have Trey Lance. And what Cincinnati is demanding is the number 9 pick and Jerry Jeudy. Mace,
I like my deal better.
Or no deal?
Now, could Cincinnati trade to another team?
Yes, they could. They could, but they're hanging up right after they talk to you.
I don't have to give up any draft capital. I'm very deep at wide receiver. I'm taking this deal.
Wow.
And selecting Trey Lance?
I'm selecting Trey Lance at number 5. Yep.
Oh, man. And good thing you did, because right after hanging up the phone, they were going to talk to the New England Patriots, who were going to take Trey Lance as well. So there you go. All right. So Dre and Ryan, tell me, which do you feel like you took the right deal? Do you think you bit a little too early?
So here's the thing. I would have been willing to discuss plenty more draft capital with Cincinnati. And you probably still should have been able to get a better deal than what you were going to have to give to Atlanta. But I'm not giving up Jerry Jeudy. No way. So I'd rather have Jerry Jeudy to help develop my young quarterback than I would to have number 40 in next year's first and second. Now that might be crazy. But to me, I would have, I should have gotten punished for taking the first deal and him still being on the board after that. But I don't want to give Jerry Jeudy. I'll give you a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to give you Jerry Jeudy. So, on paper, we definitely got the worst deal, but I didn't want to give up Jerry Jeudy.
Fair.
Yeah, I have buyer's remorse. Of course, you have buyer's remorse. You could have still got Trey Lance, and you could have kept a future first and a future second and a current second. And with the depth at wide receiver in this class, with all that extra capital, you could have easily found a replacement for Jerry Jeudy.
The question is really, do you think that next year's first, second, or this year's second, any of those players will be as good as Jerry Jeudy in their career?
No.
So I personally don't either. That's why I'm feeling pretty good about this.
But could I add 3 other starters that
Yes.
are
Absolutely.
I think Dre's just being a little selfish here too, because he's saying, what the heck do I do for this next year if the Broncos don't have a first and a second round pick? What am I talking about next year?
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, there are receivers every year in the draft. We're not talking about where there are bad receiver classes. You don't really see those anymore because college football is doing such a good job of getting receivers ready for the next level and having them ready to produce reasonably quickly within a year or so after they arrive. It's not like tackle. It's not like quarterback. Receivers are not hard to find, and that's why I look at this deal. I'm saying thank you very much. Maybe it changes what I do the rest of the draft because maybe I'm adding a receiver on day 2, or I'm pretty comfortable standing pat with who I've got. Cortland Sutton, wide receiver 1, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, Deshaun Hamilton, Tyree Cleveland. I'm pretty comfortable with that group, and if I add to it next year, I will.
I'm super underwhelmed by that group without Jerry Jeudy. You've got question mark with Sutton. You've got Tim Patrick, who obviously is a solid but not a great player. You still got to figure out what's going to happen with KJ Hamler. Like, I don't know. I just drafted a quarterback. I do not want to take away some of their resources that are going to help them ease into the NFL.
Yeah. And I understand both guys. I think you all won because I think Trey Lance is going to take that briefcase you got and he's going to make it even more valuable. It's going to be a very good investment regardless of what you give. So I love it as well. And let's just see what Miami was going to offer if it even got to them, which it didn't even matter because the Broncos are off the board. They would have been offering, or they would have demanded 9, 40, and 71. So they would have demanded a lot less, but obviously quarterbacks are off the board unless you like Mac Jones, and heck, I would do that, but it doesn't matter because you already got your quarterback. All right, let's go to the final one here, guys, and it's another trade up scenario, and we have a board that falls pretty good in this one. You got Justin Fields, you got Trey Lance, you got Mac Jones. I don't think Mac Jones is supposed to be on there. And you've got Kyle Pitts. That may be my bad though. So we're gonna say Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Kyle Pitts because Mac Jones just went off.
Okay, I was gonna say
at number 3.
I was going to say, like, did San Francisco just fold their franchise?
Yeah. So they took Mac Jones, guys, and this is a situation that is very possible. And so Atlanta, they may not be asking for as much, guys, because there's 2 guys that are available here. And so that pick isn't as valuable because the Broncos can let it slide. So they're demanding number 9, number 40, and next year's first round pick. And so you guys know that either Trey Lance or Justin Fields is guaranteed to be there with the next pick if you don't take this deal. So what are you doing? You taking this deal to get your pick of them, or are you rolling the dice and seeing who falls?
So the question here is Cincinnati, though, going to have you by the balls after this because they know you really want a quarterback, and now there's only one left, unless there's a chance that Atlanta just stays put and picks Kyle Pitts. But I have to imagine with 2 quarterbacks on the board, there's a lot of offers flying in. They're going to get something that they really like here. Again, I hate to be repetitive here, but this is the same question for me. Do you love the prospect? I do love the prospect. I don't want to take any risks that I don't get Trey Lance. So while I like Justin Fields too, I've said this many times, you do not have there's no such thing as loving all your children the same. You have a favorite child. I have a favorite child. It's Trey Lance. You got a deal.
Done deal. Love it. Ryan is married to Trey Lance right now. Mace, what are you doing?
You know what? I get the guy that I want, and it's an acceptable amount of capital. I mean, the thing that made me blanch the last time was 2 1s and 2 2s, but you're keeping the second round pick next year, so George Paton can kind of deal with that and make some moves to add more capital. I'll take this deal.
Done deal. Mace is off the board too. Dre, you following in the footsteps and just ending this right now.
Let me tell you something about Deal or No Deal. There was once this lady at Deal or No Deal, and her father was in the audience, a regular viewer of the show. She had 2 big cases left, 250,000, 500,000. The offer was less than 250,000. What was the advice her father gave her? Never take an offer that is lower than your second highest case. Right?
Oh.
We have 2 big money cases left here, boys. I'm not taking this deal. No deal. Hanging tough, seeing what sticks. And if Kyle Pitts goes, then my world just opened up. So I'm ready to roll here. And one way or the other, whether it's a good case or a bad case that's opened here, I'm still going to land on my feet with this next one.
Well, let's open the briefcase and see if Dre plays his cards right. Kyle Pitts is taken by Atlanta.
Wow.
You have Justin Fields and Trey Lance fall to Cincinnati here. And what Cincinnati is demanding with both of these guys still on the board is number 9 and a 2022 first-round pick. Dre, you know you're going to get one more offer at a shot at one of these guys, potentially both of these guys, if something crazy happens with Cincinnati. What are you doing?
Yeah, I can get greedy here and wait it out. And also, you got to consider that I can trade Drew Lock after I make this deal as well and recoup some of the draft capital I'm giving up. But as I just explained, when you have 2 good cases left, you have no pressure to take a deal, standing with that principle that Pops on Deal or No Deal episode I watched 5 years ago taught me. No deal.
No deal.
No
And
deal.
guys, big deal coming down the line right now. You have Cincinnati getting a call from the Oakland Raiders, who have been quietly in the quarterback market. They slide up and select Justin Fields here. So Justin Fields off the board at number 5. So that means Trey Lance is still on the board for Miami at number 6. And Dre, the Miami Dolphins are demanding number 9, number 40, and number 71. So all picks this year. So you would be without any pick until the 4th round. Are you doing this?
Yes, easy peasy. We're taking Trey Lance. We're taking the deal, and we're going to get back one of those 2 day 2 picks we just sacrificed in a Drew Lock trade, either this year or next year. So I have no issue with it whatsoever. Deal all the way.
All right, there we go. I absolutely love it, guys. And actually, I'm happy that we finally got to Miami, where Miami is still on the board, because yesterday, George Paton very, very interestingly threw in there that he talked to Miami's general manager on Wednesday. Now, the 2 did work together for 5 years, so they could have just been shooting the shit. But George kind of made it seem like they weren't just shooting the shit. What? Shooting the stuff?
I didn't know we were working blue here, man.
Well, they were he made it clear that they weren't really doing that, because they weren't just he wasn't giving him advice. So I thought that was interesting.
Why would he tell that? Like, why would he share that information?
I don't know. Why do you think?
I mean, to me, it feels like a little way to make people think that the Broncos might trade up to 6, because the Broncos don't want to trade up at all. And so they're trying to get people to jump them to go take quarterbacks so better players fall to them at 9.
Maybe. And I mean, it was very discreet. So if he did that, hat tip to him.
No one else has any comments on that?
No, I think you've read the situation pretty well. Don't like it, though. Don't like it.
Yeah, it was just an interesting, a lot of interesting little tidbits. There was one where he did an interview with James Palmer, and he said something along the lines of like, if it doesn't work out and we don't get a quarterback, then we're okay with Drew as our starter. I was like, did he just actually say that? Like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, he had to have done that on purpose.
Right. George is a really smart guy, and that one got me as well, guys, because what are we doing here? Are we intentionally throwing out smoke screens? But then also, you're kind of throwing your quarterback under the bus, your starting quarterback, and they've constantly done that this offseason by saying, Drew's not good enough. We need to bring in competition. We like where he's at, trying to trade for Matthew Stafford. It comes out that the Broncos were inquired about Teddy Bridgewater. And so if he's your starting quarterback and that, why are you doing that to him? Or else, he is throwing out hints of what he's going to do by trading up.
Yeah, that was totally a Drew Lock is my safety school vibe in that whole thing. Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, okay, well, if we've got these possibilities and we're really keen on them, but if we don't get them, yeah, we'll be okay with Drew. And I'm just, and I heard that, I'm thinking, if Drew Lock hears this, what is he thinking when he hears that comment?
If it's a smokescreen, which I just feel like it has to be, then you've already talked to Drew about this. And you've told him, hey, look, we're going to kind of let some stuff get out there. We're trying to, manipulate the board for ourselves. So don't take any of this personally. And heck, I might tell him that even if I was still planning on getting a quarterback, just in case the board falls a certain way. And then if it does happen, you're like, look, man, we had no idea that Trey Lance was going to be available, number 6. We had to do what we had to do, but look, we still believe in you, blah blah blah. But
no, here's what you do, Ryan.
Conversation would be more than this.
Yeah, that call that's made to Drew to explain, we didn't expect the board to fall like this. You're saying we didn't expect the board to fall like this, and by the way, we just traded you to, Detroit for a 4th round pick, and then you don't have to worry about hurting his feelings.
That's very true. Yeah.
And then if you pass on a quarterback, that speaks louder than anything, right? That you're our guy for this season, and we didn't draft someone in the top 10.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Mace, I noticed you're very active in the comment section. I wanted to let you know you can address comments that are in there on the show.
But they're not really in the flow of conversation on the show, though. So I'm trying to have both tracks going here. I'm trying to participate in the comment area, but knowing that if I bring it in, it derails the natural flow of the conversation that everyone's having. So that's why it just didn't. Well, it didn't seem to work in the show context.
Well, speaking of the comments, Tripp, who I found out is the big Tabowski, said, Zach, I thought you guys said shooting the ship. That's exactly what I said. I don't know what you guys thought I said, but I said we're just shooting the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Ship from the night.
Tripp, noted Trey Lance hater, saying that what was he saying, that Drew Lock is better than Trey Lance? Is that what you were kind of going back and forth there, Mace?
We're talking about the accuracy a little bit because he mentioned how that Cortland Sutton, for example, because I took the trade that traded Jerry Jeudy and was left with Cortland Sutton. That Cortland Sutton needs someone who's accurate to get him the ball so he can kind of win the jump balls. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're talking about Drew Lock being accurate. Trey Lance is literally far more accurate at the point where he's entering the draft than Drew Lock was, and Lock was literally the least accurate quarterback in the NFL last year.
Yeah,
that's inarguable.
Yeah, while we still have you, Andre, I wanted to ask you this: where do you think Drew Lock would be coming out of Missouri in this draft class? In terms of the quarterbacks,
he would have he would be in the same tier where I have Mac Jones, so he'd be competing for that 5th spot right there. Mac, of course, has the fact that he's only got 1 year of experience that kind of hurts him, and he doesn't have some of the athletic and natural ability that Drew has, certainly coming out of Missouri in the same conference. But obviously, Mac has incredibly more consistent tape. And a bit more refinement on, some of the technical stuff. And that leads to a more consistent approach and cleaner tape, as I mentioned. So it would be a really interesting conversation to be had between Mac Jones and Drew Lock in this class. But for me, he would rank below the top 4. And of course, I mentioned only 1 year of experience for Mac Jones. Legitimate question for Trey Lance as well, especially coming from the FCS. To me, Trey Lance is a rule breaker, though, just because of the level of talent, his ascension. I mean, he redshirts as a freshman, then instantly in 1 year takes over, dominates the FCS. I think it's easy to watch highlights or what have you and say like, oh, this isn't going to translate. But when you really dig into the tape and you see some of the drops, you see how much of an NFL pro style offense he's already running, how polished he already is under center, calling plays with his footwork, with his accuracy and timing, how much they're using boots and stuff that are, commonplace in the NFL. I think his game translates a lot. And that's why Trey Lance, typically his profile wouldn't qualify for a first round grade. But for me, he's a true rule breaker, to where those raw tools and that natural talent just ticks up so high. Not to mention the circumstances are obviously different, to where in any normal year an FCS season is played. He couldn't because of the pandemic. So I give him a bit of a pass. But yeah, that's how that stack up.
And you know what's interesting about Lance too is sometimes I just step back, and I know that there's so much around San Francisco and all that, but I step back and say Trey Lance to the 49ers, if I were kind of matching a team with a quarterback, with a scheme, with a situation, because they have Jimmy Garoppolo, that Lance of the 49ers is the one that really just makes the most sense if you're putting together a marriage that's likely to work out.
That's what Zach and I said the moment the trade was made, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the perfect fit. The other thing that kind of makes me think that too is I actually see a little bit of comparisons between Trey Lance and Colin Kaepernick, which can just like send your mind to San Francisco,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And Dre, when you were talking about Trey being a rule breaker, man, a good nickname could be Bad Boy Trey Lance. I would absolutely love it. And so, Dre, I gotta put your Drew Lock and Mac Jones right here to the test. Let's say all 4 quarterbacks are gone by the Broncos pick, and Mac Jones is there at 9. Not what the Broncos would do. What would you do if Mac Jones is available?
He's my 26th ranked prospect in this class. I think similar kind of upside to a Drew Lock. So that would really line up to where I would have guys ranked higher on my board than Mac Jones if I was stuck at 9, and I would be looking to trade down. So it's a conversation I'd have. Obviously in an NFL front office, it's different from just me stacking my board at my own home year round. We can talk to our offensive coordinator. We can think of how does he fit in our offense? How can we put him in the best situation to succeed and what have you? Maybe those factors are enough to lean on Mac Jones. But for me personally, with just what I know in a vacuum, no, I wouldn't take Mac Jones.
Very fair. Very fair. Well, Dre, we lied to you. We said I guess we're honest. We said we'd get you out by 11, and then it's 11 on the dot. Thank you for joining us, my man. That was an absolute blast. And boy, did we pick the perfect game to play with the master of Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, my dream has always been to be on Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel, tell the stories I told. Probably will never happen. This comes in as a very close second, though. So I thank you. A dream of a lifetime, true.
And you didn't have to leave your house.
That's right. Wow, amazing. Yeah.
Sorry we weren't on models showing you the cases though.
But Bomani Locks, I think, is our favorite model. Who has the? I'm sure I butchered that name. Okay, guys.
Anyway,
see you, Dre.
See you, Dre. Wow, he got called McLovin in the comments. All right, before we move on to the red zone, we got to give a shout out to Breckenridge Brewery. It's a little Breck Brew Friday, as you know. There's no better way to get your weekend started than with an ice cold glass of Breck Brew. And of course, you can go down wherever you buy your liquor, wherever your local liquor store is, and get you some Good Company hard seltzers. I've got a fridge full of them for this weekend. Of course, this is also the weekend of the DNVR golf tournament, which is going to be off the chain. I'm coming strapped with some Breck Brews when we show up there, and we'll even have Breck Brew on the course tomorrow out there. So huge shout out to Breckenridge Brewery, one of our favorite partners of all time, and enjoy you some Breck Brews on this Breck Brew Friday.
And if you want some money to buy Breck Brews, well, I got the best way for you to do that. Take 5 minutes, guys, just 5 minutes. Go on to Gabi.com/DNVR. That's GABI.com/DNVR. And you'll be able to save so much money that you'll be able to buy Breck Brews for a year probably, because we all at DNVR have gone on to Gabi.com/DNVR and saved hundreds of dollars. Drew Kreisman, AJ, Lindsay, they all saved hundreds when they went on to Gabi.com, and Eric Weedham saved $1,300 per year when he went on to Gabi Insurance. And what Gabi does is they take just some very, very basic information from you. Literally, guys, it takes 5 minutes. They take that and they compare all of the insurance rates for home and car owners insurance with the top 40 insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers, and they get you the best rate possible. And this comes out to hundreds of dollars in savings. I believe the average person that checks out Gabi saves over $900 a year, and it takes 5 or 10 minutes, and there's no downside because they don't sell any of your information. So head to Gabi.com/DNVR if you want to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And when you do that, you support us. So check them out, Gabi, GABI.com/DNVR.
You know what else you can do if you save a little money? If you're not a DNVR member, you can become a DNVR member. Of course, there's so much that goes along with it. You can comment on any of the podcasts and get in on the conversation. You can read our written content. You're going to get that free DNVR shirt with your annual membership. You can chat in the Discord with a lot of like-minded fans, have some good debate without the stuff that you don't want. But you also have this new perk for the next 300 members. If you sign up to become an annual DNVR member, you'll not only get your free shirt from the DNVR locker, but you also get a Recover Holistic Stick from Holistic Wellness. Holistic Wellness is all about CBD. The stick will send you packs 10 milligrams of CBD, and this one's focused on recovery. All you do is pop the top of the stick, pour in a drink, stir, and consume. They are amazing. So check out the reviews at holisticwellness.com. That's HOLISTIK wellness.com. And if you want more, they're offering our listeners 30% off the first purchase using that code DNVR30. So you can get an annual membership, a free DNVR shirt, and a holistic stick with a coupon inside. It's a heck of a deal. And make sure you use that DNVR30 code if you go for the sampler pack. So head on over to the DNVR.com, become a member of the family, and take advantage of all the benefits that continue to expand by joining the DNVR family.
All right. Speaking of DNVR family, speaking of DNVR members, we have our challenger here for the red zone. It's our guy Brent G. Brent, what up? How you doing, man?
Oh no!
We can't hear you.
Muted. No, we don't have you. He's even rocking the sweet DNVR shirt right here. Oh, wow. We also got Mace is down. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Things have gone awry.
Yeah,
I told you this was a circus show today, and I certainly wasn't kidding. Brent, one of the things you may want to try is cam mic at the bottom. If you click on that, you'll be able to select a different input or output. Maybe that will do the trick right there.
Like a little settings button.
Right. We've certainly had our own technical issues today, so no sweat, Brent, at all.
All right, well, it's not working for him, so maybe we're going to have to... Why don't we pull him off? Kale, maybe you can help him there. I don't know if there's anything that you can do. We can get Mace back on here. Maybe we can even get Dre back and have him enter the red zone.
Oh, I don't know if I want to face him, but we can see if we can make that happen.
Let me just see something. Edit. Yeah, I don't think I can help Brent there. It's unfortunate. Let me see if I can get Dre back on while you guys kill some time.
All right. So, guys, we did have a very important press conference yesterday. George Paton's pre-draft press conference. What was the biggest thing? We've already touched on a couple of things, but Dre, Mace, what was the biggest thing that you took from it?
I mean, I think the willingness to to trade down or trade out or trade up, but really none of that was a surprise. I'll tell you one thing that kind of went under the radar that really is interesting and has long-term implications is what he was saying about the Zoom interviews that they have with guys. Ordinarily, of course, in a typical year, you'd have 30 in-person visits at your team facility. You'd get to talk to guys at the combine for 15-minute bursts, and then you'd basically be trying to play catch as catch can at the Senior Bowl, at the Shrine Game, at Pro Days. This year, without those access points, it was all about getting guys over Zoom, and instead of getting 15 minutes at the combine, you get a guy over Zoom for an hour, and he said that they talked to 250 guys on the Zoom conversations for an hour apiece, and it's really possible that you learn more about those guys, even though they're not in person. You get a chance to learn more by talking to guys for longer than in a normal year. Zach, RK, I think this is something that might stick after this year, and it's something that George Paton seemed to like, and I think a lot of teams like the increased time they were getting with guys, even though it was virtual.
Yeah, George Paton certainly really liked it, and that'll be interesting if that's one thing that stays. It's clearly something that George Paton would like, and they talked to over 250 guys, so they are clearly doing all of their research here.
My question for you guys, smoke screen or no smoke screen on the quarterback smoke?
I don't think it's a smokescreen, guys. I think it is very clear that there are one or maybe two guys that the Broncos have their eyes on, and I don't think it's really a surprise on who it is. I think it's Justin Fields, and then maybe Trey Lance is also that second guy in there. Just the way George Paton talks about it, I mean, he would just be playing all of us masterfully the way he talked about it. But I think they have a guy in mind, but I don't think that they're going to trade up to 4. I don't think they're going to give up so much, unless the price isn't that high. But just the one spot that I could absolutely see happening is if Justin Fields or Trey Lance falls to 6, I could absolutely see a deal getting done there, because then it's not involving a future first-round pick, and you're not giving up so much, but you are getting a quarterback that you've wanted all off season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to give up. They're going to make a deal even to 6 or 7 that involves losing in terms of draft capital. That was one reason why, of course, Benjamin Albright last night mentioned on the radio that Miami had called the Broncos about trading down from 6 to 9. And so we know that Chris Greer had a conversation with George Paton on Wednesday, something that Paton alluded to yesterday. And so there certainly is the repartee in place between the Dolphins and the Broncos, but I don't think that George Paton is going to want to do a deal where they're getting fleeced in terms of draft value. And that's why on Twitter last night I tossed out a deal where the Broncos would have a slight disadvantage in draft capital value, but they would have the same number of picks as they did before, and that would be sending 9 and 40 to Miami for 6 and 81. That's the type of deal I think George Paton would want to make. I think deals where they're not getting back acceptable draft capital are going to be DOA for George Paton.
All right, let's see if Kale can give us a little update here. I know we have Dre back if we need him. Do we have Brent?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Brent, we'll troubleshoot this and we'll get you in next time, Brent.
Yeah,
Thanks for trying today, though.
Appreciate you taking the time to hang out, and that I think that's a Steve Atwater jersey on the wall.
And did you see the shirt he was rocking too? He was rocking a fire shirt.
He really brought it. Unfortunately, now we have to go back to just regular old Dre.
Oh, but we're going backwards hat, Dre. I love it.
Yeah, quite the change since you last had me. You guys really caught me as I was kicking my feet up here.
Sorry to throw you in the fiery red zone now, Dre.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's not the backwards hat; it's the thinking cap.
Exactly. I just hope Paton and the Broncos don't have all these technical difficulties come draft day, because that could prove disastrous.
Good thing they'll all be together for that, and it's not going to be like last year. And Dre, I mean, you really were kicking your feet back. You got the shirt unbuttoned. Maybe I got you a little relaxed, which is good.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Dre has a shot here.
I think so too. And guys, yesterday in our company Slack, I was called out by Lindsay Sauer, our director of sales, for my poor performances in these. So hopefully I don't disappoint again.
All right.
Wow.
Okay. Let's begin. And of course, Dre, as you know, these are questions from the last 5 seasons for the first stage of the Red Zone. And we're going to start with a look at George Paton and his previous stop, Minnesota, because the last 2 years, Minnesota has led the NFL in draft picks. How many draft picks did George Paton's Vikings make in the last 2 years?
Combined,
the last 2 years.
23.
When Mace doesn't say anything, that means it's wrong.
I'll tell you if you're right.
I just to throw it out there, I did think this was Broncos trivia.
Yeah, this is definitely
trivia. It's Paton trivia.
Last year alone, I think they had damn near 14. I'm going to say.
How do they
Dre's going to be closer.
22.
Oh.
He went
I think
down.
I'm going to win, actually. I'm going to win.
Actually, Zach is closer.
Yeah. What was
27.
Okay, how many of those guys did they keep on the team come week 1? Like, how many did they have last year? 14?
15.
How many guys made the team?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's crazy because Ryan, it's a great point. How many of those guys made the team? Yeah. Obviously, what you're doing is you're just making a much smaller undrafted free agent class. Mm-hmm. But what George Paton said yesterday was if you have 7 picks and you only hit on 50% of them, well, then you're probably only getting 3 players. I wonder when you have 15 picks, it's not like 10 of those are in the first 2 rounds where you're surely going to hit 70% of those. I mean, a lot of those guys have to be day 3.
Yes.
What's the success rate when you have 15 picks? Because I don't think it's going to be 50% like it would be in the other scenario he threw out. I think it'd have to be lower.
He likes getting to round 5, round 6, round 7, and having a lot of darts. That's what the Vikings did, and if George Paton follows the Vikings philosophy, that's what the Broncos are going to do. I mean, they're already kind of well set up because they've got 3 7th-round picks this year, so they've got dart there. It's just a question of whether they take some of those 4th and 5th round choices and maybe convert them into extra choices by moving down. Those are the kinds of day 3 trades that you could see happening to get to kind of a magic baseline of 10 draft picks that was alluded to yesterday.
He had 12 in day 3 last year alone.
Yes.
Last
That's
2 years.
Literal nightmare.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking, because from the media perspective, a lot of day 3 picks is a worst case scenario in terms of covering the draft. I mean, there was one year where Mike Shanahan in 2007 traded out of the rest of the draft, and it was a 4th round pick, Marcus Thomas, and that was it. And the media was ecstatic at that development.
Thank you.
They only had 4 draft picks that year, though, and that was, it's a different philosophy. The Broncos with John Elway. Now we've seen more draft picks in recent years, but always kind of went in the draft thinking, okay, is there a roster spot for this guy? And if there wasn't, they would be more inclined to be able to surrender day 3 capital, thinking, okay, well, we've got, say, 9 roster spots and pick 10, 11 probably isn't going to make the team. And so let's just go ahead and nix that. George Paton and the Vikings operate with a completely different philosophy. They're not afraid to cut guys right away if they don't stick in their draft picks.
It's very different than what we've seen around here. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the next question.
The next question. So the American Athletic Conference loves to market itself as part of the Power 6, and certainly with all respect to the Mountain West, they've done better on the national stage in recent years, so they may have a point. So let's take those 6 conferences, the American, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC. Which of these conferences has produced the fewest Broncos draft picks in the last 5 drafts?
Okay, I'm gonna go Little shocker? SEC?
No way.
Huh, that sounds on the money.
No
way. No.
No way.
But
No way.
The
The SEC is actually number one, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a counterintuitive. Well,
Literally every draft pick I thought of in my head was in the SEC. I was like Jerry Jeudy,
I mean-
Drew Lock, Alberto Cuevana.
right, like Missouri alone swings this. Like whatever conference
true.
Missouri is in actually would determine this entire stat. I'm gonna say the Big 12 with that in mind, though.
Yes, I was gonna say it's the conference that Missouri isn't in.
Correct. The Big 12 in the last 5
Oh.
drafts has only produced one Broncos pick.
Okay, let's figure out who it is. One Bronco out of the Big 12 in how many years? Last 5 years?
Last 5 years.
Wow. So what schools are we talking? We're talking
Okay, so Oklahoma,
Oklahoma State, Texas.
Oklahoma
No.
State, no.
Texas.
No.
Texas.
Oh, it's Kansas State. It's Dalton Reisner.
Nice.
Oh, nice, Dre.
Yes.
We maybe should have saved that for the bonus question, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All
right.
All
This
right,
is,
Dre, we're tied.
The tiebreaker.
All right. In 2016, the Broncos drafted 8 players. All but one officially were listed as starters for at least one game in Denver. Who was the one who never officially started a game?
Wait, so say that question again?
In 2016, the Broncos drafted 8 players. Only one did not start at least one game in Denver officially. Who is that one?
Oh, this
Okay.
is a. This.
So you have
a little bit of a
Paxton Lynch
tripwire
that
question.
started.
Yeah, this is a.
Trickwire question. Oh boy.
Note I'm saying officially started. So going into
Right.
the game book as a starter.
I'm gonna lay down the answer first. I probably even have this draft class wrong, but it's a counterintuitive one. Andy Janovich.
No.
No.
Oh man, I'm just trying to understand the trip part of this. So this was Paxton Lynch. This was Devontae Booker. This was
It's weirdly it's pretty solid draft class for how bad it was at the top.
Is Simmons in there?
yeah.
This
Simmons
guy-
is in there.
Simmons
This
is in
guy
there.
is actually this guy
Oh,
would actually
Will
be considered
Parks.
a good pick.
Will
No.
Parks.
No.
Oh no.
This guy would actually be considered a good pick for when they got him.
A
And
good
probably
pick
should still be here.
in 26. I mean,
And he was first on the depth chart.
Yes, that's why it's a tripwire question. Because if you go on the
Royce
depth chart,
Freeman.
he was a first teamer.
Oh no, that was later.
But officially, he was not listed as a starter on any game book.
Okay, so what frickin' position could I mean? I love the fullback there.
That was on the, like
Oh,
you were,
Riley Dixon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Riley Dixon.
Oh man, wow. Yeah, that's a tough one.
it's so weird. Okay, so that class, obviously the biggest bust of the John Elway GM era in Paxton Lynch.
Mhm.
You go on down from there. Everyone else was like a average draft pick. Gotsis, whatever.
Yeah.
Simmons, Booker played for being a 4th round pick. Like you got your return on that value. Connor McGovern was a starter. Andy Janovich was a starter. Will Parks plays a lot. Riley Dixon, you should have kept him. Like top to bottom, there were no misses except for the number 1 draft pick. And Gotsis is, you can probably make the case that he was a miss.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
you got production out of every single player in that class except for Paxton Lynch.
Man, yeah, that is pretty crazy. And guys, we wouldn't have had the Marquette King era if they didn't trade Riley Dixon.
Hey, Marquette King can hit a lamppost. Did you guys see that video a few weeks ago?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
putting out all sorts of videos.
Yeah.
And Marquette King is an interesting case. When he was good, he was really, really good. And he keeps tweeting out like, if this is a performance-based business, why don't I have a job? He's posting his stats. And it's like, it's because you're the punter and you cause drama. The punter just can't. It's not allowed. The punter's not allowed to cause drama. The punter's not allowed to beef with the media. The punter is not allowed to take attention away from other people. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I was all about his personality and all that stuff because it was fun. And then he let it go the other way. And, like, the fact that there was, like, a media beef with the punter and a radio station, other teams know that. And they're just like, there's no way we're bringing in a punter who would beef with the media.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Todd Sauerbrunn after he hit a cab driver and after he was so vocal about saying he was going to kick to Devin Hester. I mean, he was gone within weeks of actually within days of the latter of the two moments for him.
Look who replaced Marquette King, and he was not good at his job. But Colby Wadman, you can't think of one thing he said except for that he was like working for his mom or something when he got the call.
At a dentist's office.
Yeah, exactly. Like he never did anything notable ever again.
And no one has signed him since. Can you believe that?
He was really bad.
I mean, Colby Wadman, he was the replacement level punter.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, he was. Do you guys remember the Chucky signs that Marquette King made and brought in?
Like the punter, I'm sorry, the punter's just not allowed to get attention.
Yeah.
And the kicker is only allowed to get a little bit more attention, but we all remember Peyton Manning back in the day referring to the idiot kicker Mike Vanderjagt when he played for the Colts after Vanderjagt was speaking out too much. That if punters and kickers, with rare exceptions, are there to be seen and not heard.
Yeah, and like Brandon McManus, I mean, I've even got on him for taking up too much attention because he threw his helmet in anger. Like, you're not allowed to do that either, but he's good enough to keep his job. Marquette King was also really bad in Denver.
The other thing that McManus has done that's allowed him to have a voice that's really smart on his part is get involved with the NFLPA. And being the player rep gives him...
got plenty of time on his hands.
And being the player rep gives him more credibility in a locker room than most kickers have. And so I would actually tell every punter and kicker that if they want to really establish their place, their hand in the locker room, get involved with union stuff.
Yep. Okay. Do either of you have a bonus question that you can use for Dre to stay alive and go to the second round?
I do have a bonus question. I do.
Oh, Mace's got a bonus for Dre. Love it.
Okay.
All right. I mentioned, of course, that the SEC had produced more Broncos draft picks in the last 5 drafts than any other conference. What conference is next, and how many did that conference produce?
I've got my guess. How many? He doesn't have to get how many. Just get the conference.
I'm gonna say the Conference of Champions. They've really liked the Pac-12. Those West Coast scouts are getting a lot of work. Again, if Missouri swung the SEC, Utah probably swung the Pac-12 pick. So yeah, I'm going Pac-12 all the way.
You're close.
Oh,
Pac-12 has 8. The Big Ten.
Dang.
9.
They do love them, the Big Ten. Yeah.
Yes, they do, especially tight ends.
Josie Jewell, you've got Troy Fumagalli, Noah Fant, Jake Butt. Yeah. Wow, that's oh my gosh.
You have oh my gosh, OJ Mudia.
Yep.
They love their Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
They do love the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Missouri, Utah, and Iowa. Really, most of the Broncos roster is just those 3 universities.
All right, Dre, you've been dispatched in the first round.
Keep your shirt on. We may be calling you back for something. Who knows?
Okay, I will. I'll stay tuned.
All right, Dre, I'll talk to you
Thanks,
in a little bit.
Dre.
All right. Let's go to the final round here of the Red Zone. It's Mace versus no one, except for me coming up with good questions.
Get him, Ryan.
This one, I'll be shocked if you get this one. Okay. So, no expectations. 4 players share the record as a Bronco for 2-point conversions as a Bronco. 4 players share the record. Name 2 of them.
Wow.
2 are legends. 1 is a Ring of Fame caliber player, and 1 I've never heard of.
Ryan, when he's thinking, can you tell us how many they're tied with?
Yes, they all have 3.
Okay.
Now we define legends. We're talking about like Hall of Fame caliber type players.
I mean, I don't want
Wow,
to give
that's
too
a pretty
many...
big hint there.
I don't want to give
All right.
too many hints there, but they're legends.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
would. I
So
would say.
in other words, I would rule out Tim Tebow then. In
A
that
legend
case.
in his own right.
He's trying to get some hints from
I
you,
know.
Ryan.
No. I'm just trying to make educated guesses here, and the educated guesses I'm going to make are.
I've got mine too.
I'm gonna say Demaryius Thomas, Rod Smith.
Okay, neither of those two on the list.
Okay, mine. I'm gonna guess too, and I think this first one is a guarantee.
Okay,
I'm gonna say Terrell Davis.
that is correct.
Okay, and then the other one, I'm gonna say Shannon Sharp.
Oh, he's got him.
Wow, hey.
That's impressive. You want to try for the third?
So not as good, but still really good. And Mace, you guess Rod Smith and who else?
Demaryius Thomas.
Demaryius Thomas. I like that one. Boy,
I think
I'm
you've got a
gonna
good
go.
chance at this.
I'm gonna go. Ed McCaffrey.
Boom! That's
Wow.
Yes.
the
My
fourth.
guy right here.
The fourth one, Gene Prebola.
Wouldn't have got that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's never heard of him.
they had the 2-point conversion back in the AFL days, right?
You would know more than I.
Very fair.
All right, let's go on.
Prebola? How do
Yeah.
you spell?
GENEPREBOLA.
Yeah, well, yep, that would be the 1960s. Yep, so that was when the AFL had the AFL had 2-point conversions back then. So
I'm gonna take my little victory lap on Lindsay
Yeah,
right there,
please
and
do.
that makes up for everything.
It
That was
should.
impressive.
It should. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you got it right out of the box.
Impressive, very impressive. All right, Mace. Who was the first ever Broncos quarterback to finish a season with a passer rating over 100?
Brian Greasy.
That is correct.
Wow.
Year 2000, Brian Greasy with a 19-4 touchdown to interception ratio.
Wow.
It's
He
so
had
weird
an
because
yeah.
I remember his downfall being interceptions. Like in my head, I'm like, he's always throwing picks. Like if it wasn't for that, but what 19-4?
Well, think about that year for him compared to others. In 1999, of course, that was his first season as a starter, so had a bit of a rough transition, but also he loses Shannon Sharp, he loses Terrell Davis. So you get to 2000. Shannon had left in free agency, but you don't have the inconsistency of losing somebody at tight end. They had kind of the Desmond Clark, Dwayne Carswell combination. Rod and Ed are both terrific that year, and as a result, he really got into a groove in 2000. You go to 01, he loses Ed in week 1 with that horrific leg injury. Get to 02, Ed is back, but he's not really Ed McCaffrey. And the other thing, of course, that happened that year is that you had a significant injury up front during that season, which affected the protection, which in turn affected Brian Greasy. And that was losing Tom Nalen halfway through the season to an ACL. So Brian Greasy, when everything was right, when everyone up front did their job in protection, and when the receivers ran the right routes, Brian Greasy was money. But one thing went wrong, and it was tough for him to adapt. And that's why he was the ultimate on-script quarterback.
Right.
Off-script, it wasn't there.
How many picks did Paton throw in 2013?
Was that it was
10?
double digits, like 10 or 12.
I think it was 55-10.
I would venture to guess that is far and away the least interceptions ever thrown by a Broncos starting quarterback in a season.
Did he start 16 games?
I don't know that for sure.
Brian, he didn't. No, because he got hurt. In fact, he dealt with an injury late in this mid-season and late season. He came back for the final game at Mile High in week 17, got hurt again, and thus Gus Frerotte had to start the playoff game in Baltimore. And Gus had a really bad day against a great Raven defense. Brian Greasy certainly would have given them a better shot that day than Gus Frerotte did. I want to say Greasy had 11 starts that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Even if you prorate it,
he had 10.
Okay.
10.
Even if
Okay.
so, yeah. I guess he would have been close to double digits though, but still not double digits.
Nope. Would have been 6 or 7. I mean, yeah, that's really impressive.
All right,
but starting 10 games and 1.9 touchdowns per game. I mean, let's say he ends up with 7 or even 8 picks, but also you add basically another 11 touchdowns to that. You're talking about a nice little that could have been a nice little 30-8 ratio.
Yeah, for real.
And back in 2000, that would have been that was amazing.
All right, last one. So these are getting harder just because I'm running out of questions. Who is the first Bronco to ever have a kick return and a punt return in the same game?
For a touchdown or just?
Yeah. Yes, for a touchdown. Sorry.
First Bronco to have a touchdown or same game. Because they went a long time without having a kickoff return. So,
Ryan, do you know how many times this has happened?
I think only twice.
Okay.
But maybe it's only once. But the way the question was phrased, where I found it, was who's the first?
Okay, I think I know the second.
I think the second would be. Well, are we including playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the second.
Okay, because we know that Trent and Holiday did it, but I'm gonna just guess Gene Mingo.
Yeah, that was the best guess. The answer is Al Frazier.
Okay.
Oh, little Al.
Sounds more like a jazz artist to me.
It does.
A punt returner / kick returner, but he was the first one to do it a long time ago. Like I said, I'm running out of questions that aren't so difficult. But there you go. Zach, you get a bonus point that is worth absolutely nothing except for pride for getting an answer correct today.
Well, that's what I needed rolling into the weekend was some pride.
Well, it's a little bit of pride sprinkled on top. All right. Before we jump into our final segment here, which is going to be draft themed once again, we're going to talk about the best Broncos day 3 steals in the 2000s. We're going to draft them. See who can put together the best team here. But before, shout out to Solace Meds, one of our new partners down here at DNVR, and one that some of you I think will enjoy very much. They've got 4 different locations: Fort Collins, Wheat Ridge, one off of Broadway, and one just blocks away from the DNVR bar on East Colfax. And they're giving away a trip to Jamaica, boys. Head into any one of their locations in the month of April. They even have 2 locations in Oklahoma City if anyone's out there. And sign up to win a trip to Jamaica with no purchase necessary. They'll give you all the details on how to enter, or you can visit them at solacemeds.com/sweepstakes to find out the rules. That's SOLACE meds.com to find out the rules for a 7-night all-inclusive trip to paradise. Again, couple locations, but one just down from the DNVR bar on East Colfax. And if you use the code DNVR20, you can save 20% off. No purchase necessary for the Jamaica trip, open to legal residents of Colorado and Oklahoma, and it's 4/30/21, void where prohibited.
Man, that sounds absolutely awesome. And what else sounds absolutely awesome is getting 26-1 odds. And that's what our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook are offering you in honor of UFC's 261. So 261, they're saying, okay, 26-1 odds is what they're going to give you. And what you have to do is bet $5 on either fighter in the main event to win. And if they win, you'll cash $130. That's 26-1 odds for you. And there's no better way to show your MMA knowledge by getting in on this bet. Bet $5, and if you win, you get $130. And guys, what I love about DraftKings Sportsbook is they give those great deals out for new users all the time, but they also give out great deals for existing users. I mean, every single night you're getting an odds boost on whatever you want. And what that does is that takes like not the best odds, like -200, and they'll jack it up to +150 on the exact same bet. I love getting in on those. I have so many people sending me odds boosts left and right, and they are fantastic. So make sure to check out DraftKings Sportsbook for this weekend's UFC 261 title fight, and also for the Nuggets tonight, Avs, getting back in it, looking good last night. Anything you want to get in on DraftKings as. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn that $5 into $130 in free bets. If the title contender of your choice wins, place the bet, watch the fist fly, and bring home $130 in free bets for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Also want to tell you about the newest big thing over at Rugby Town USA in beautiful Glendale, and that is the Colorado XOs, which is the new rugby venture and team. The Colorado XOs are athletes who have competed at the highest level of their respective sports, and now they're taking their talents to rugby. These guys come from backgrounds in football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, soccer, and track, and they possess the necessary raw skills to excel at the game of rugby. And by placing these former athletes in a full-time rugby training environment, Rugby Town USA hopes to expedite their development and inject the U.S. national team with elite talent, which will help them compete on the global stage and hopefully someday ultimately win the Rugby World Cup. They had 2 matches earlier this month. More are coming, so check your calendars to find out when the Colorado XOs are going to play next. And what's even better is our guy Colton Strickler has it all covered for you with the weekly DNVR Rugby Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. And you know what? If you were an athlete, you didn't get that ticket you wanted in your sport, check out the opportunities at Infinity Park. You might find out that rugby revives your athletic career and could be your next ride. So if you want to learn more about rugby and you want to get in on that, follow the DNVR Rugby account. Listen to Colton Strickler's podcast. You can get you can get the lowdown on rugby, with Colton's Rugby 101 podcast. He's even got betting advice for all the super rugby action going on in the Southern Hemisphere right now. It started up a couple of months ago. So check out everything going on at DNVR Rugby and subscribe to the DNVR Rugby podcast.
All right, boys, let's get into it. Another draft here. And this one was fun. So the way this is the Great Broncos Day 3 Gem Draft. A little bit of a mouthful there, but you guys don't have to say it. Only I do. The Great Broncos Day 3 Gem Draft. And
one more time.
Since the Great Broncos Day 3 Gem Draft. We're doing since 2000 to narrow the board a little bit here so we don't go crazy. Who has the first pick this week?
I think it's me. I don't think I've had the first pick in a long time.
I haven't either.
Mace, Mace, you're up. You get the first pick. Who are you going with?
All right. I'm looking long and hard.
I was definitely second last week, but that's okay. I don't mind being second. No,
Ren, I can do second. Doesn't matter.
Well, then it's out of order.
Do we want to just do rock, paper, scissors, shoot to decide who goes first?
No, let's just let it fly. Let it fly.
All right. Okay. First up, and of course, we're talking about guys who would be picked on day 3 today, because for a long time in this, you only had 2 days of the draft. It was rounds 1, 2, and 3 on day 1, and then 4 through 7 on day 2. I kind of missed that. I think the 3 days kind of drags it out a little bit. That's just kind of.
We're only doing back to 2000, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So these rounds 4 through 7, and a lot of good candidates, but the one that jumps out to me, guys, is somebody who you could make an argument for being in the Ring of Fame. Somebody who's in the top 3, top 4 as far as his position in terms of productivity with the Broncos, and that is a 4th round pick in 2006, Elvis Dumervil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was the pretty consensus number 1 overall pick here. And I'm interested to see where things go after that, because I don't think it's quite as easy after that. But for me, with the number 2 pick, I've got a guy who I think you could make the argument was the most talented player at his position in Broncos history. And he, had some issues, little things here and there, but this guy was an absolute freak when he set foot on the field. Is Brandon Marshall out of UCF, the all-time leader in receptions in a game for the Broncos, also second all-time in receptions in a game for the Broncos. When he was out there, the quarterback was looking for him, and he was insane. Hopefully, people who are voting on this know that I'm talking about Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure they think it's the linebacker, because I can't believe that I just bowed down to you guys and let you get that first pick when it should have been me, and let you get that second pick when it should have been me, because those are the best 2 picks right there. You got them. And so I'm gonna go to a guy that was the rookie of the year as a rookie with the Denver Broncos. I'm gonna go for a guy that was 1,000-yard rusher twice for the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with 6th round running back. No, not Terrell Davis, because that's going back too far. Mike Anderson for my first pick. I mean, Mike Anderson was a very good player here, but he had 2 incredible years, including his rookie year when he went for almost 1,500 yards on the ground and 15 touchdowns.
Man, great pick. I don't know what happened. I think I just forgot to look at year 2000. I think you might have got the number 2 pick there.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a great pick. All right. Now I think things get a little more muddled.
Oh, and is it me? I guess that's the advantage now. Yeah, and I do agree. I had those guys as my easy top 3 picks, but now it does get more muddled. And man, right now, I'm not exactly sure where to go. I'm gonna go with a guy I think will have the fans a little more excited here, and I'm gonna go with Danny Trevathan here with this pick.
Nice
I was down between 2 people. I'll let you know who the other one is in a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Danny T.
That was a great pick, and you're right in terms of fan support. Oh, but I am going back to the talent well here. I got to go talent. I got to go with a guy who was an absolute mismatch nightmare when he was out there on the field. I got to go Julius Thomas here with my second pick.
Yeah. And Ryan, in terms of talent, you've got the 2 top ones right here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's going to help me.
Yeah, but the thing with Brandon Marshall though is that like it was only 4 years with the Broncos, although that's as many as Julius Thomas had. He dealt with injuries for a while. So I mean, we're talking about what they did as Broncos, or just kind of how freaking talented they were. That's the only thing, that's why I went with Doomerville over Marshall. It's because Doom just did more here than Brandon did.
No, I mean, I'm totally just going for what I think the fans are gonna like, and the flashy talent picks, I think, might have them won over.
And why I went Danny T over Julius T is because I think people remember Danny T in such a favorable. I mean, they still want the Broncos to bring him back now. Julius, I'm counting on the fact that fans will remember how he left and it just being a very bad situation.
Yeah, it didn't end.
Ryan, talent, you've nailed it.
Kale, just for correct sake, it's U.S., not A.S. J-U-L-I.
U.S. Thomas. U.S.
All right. Well, if it's not going to be Danny Trevathan, then I've got to go with another guy from that great defense, and it's a guy who actually was on the board with a huge play in Super Bowl 50, and that was Malik Jackson, who the Broncos, of course, they had to decide between Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe. They were in a cap crunch. They couldn't keep both. They kept Wolfe, which was fine. But Malik Jackson, man, the back half of 2014 and throughout the 2015 season, he was special as an interior rusher. And, as important as DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller were on the edge, it was also the interior push of Wolfe and Malik Jackson just working so well together that really wreaked havoc, especially you think back to that AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, and Malik just being constantly in the backfield and forcing Brady off the spot and disrupting his timing. I loved watching Malik. That was one of those guys where it broke my heart to see him leave.
Yeah, I mean, he was really, really good. And obviously, a lot of people thought it came down to him or Wolfe staying. He was never going to take the type of hometown discount that Derek Wolfe did, but a lot of people disappointed, kind of that the Broncos ended up with Wolfe and not Malik Jackson. Although Malik also never went on to be
Right.
nearly as productive as he was that year for
No.
the Broncos.
Yeah.
No, he got the cash, that's for sure. And guys, I was so bummed about Malik leaving. I called his replacement Malik when, of course, when they drafted DeMarcus Walker. And
Yeah.
so bye, DeMarcus Walker. Sorry, I called you Malik the day after you were drafted.
That was so great.
and now we have DeMarcus Walker's replacement, as it were, because Walker didn't do well, and then they got Draymond Jones. I mean, that's just keeps
Malik
on
Jones.
humming. Yeah. So moving on to third round here. I mean, there are some good options. This isn't going to be a sexy pick, but somebody who was really good for most of his time with the Broncos.
Don't do it to me.
Was Matt Paradis.
Oh, yes.
As a center.
That's a great pick. It is a great pick.
Yeah. And you could make the argument, and certainly I think you could make the argument in a very valid one that he's on a perennial basis. He's the best center the Broncos have had since Tom Nalen retired. And I thought could have been on a Nalen-like trajectory, but Broncos chose to let him walk in free agency. He's now with the Carolina Panthers. But Paradis, doing what he did, he spent, of course, 1 year on the practice squad. And then in 2015, stepping in as a week 1 starter and really never looking like a rookie or first-year starter when he stepped out there, had the poise and presence of a seasoned veteran, allowed him to kind of establish his place. So it's, again, not sexy, but Matt Paradis was a great day 3 pick for the Broncos.
Yeah, he was probably the most productive and like solid player left on my list. But there's just like a cacophony here of fan favorites left. And I don't know which one I want to take.
I want to know this cacophony that we've got going.
Did I use the right word there? Is that a lot?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I always get scared when I use big words. I am going to take David Bruton.
Okay. Yep. That's a very good one. Of course, the 4th round pick. I like that. And big time fan favorite, and also teammate favorite, organization favorite.
Yeah.
David Bruton.
You know, when you said fan favorite, I thought you were going to dip into the Peyton Hillis well.
So I thought about Peyton Hillis. He was part of the group there. So we put him in our list of like Broncos fan favorites on TikTok. And he didn't really get much support from people there. So maybe I was off on thinking that he was a fan favorite.
I was thinking this about Peyton Hillis too, guys. He had less than 400 rushing yards in his career at the Broncos. I thought there was a 1,000-yard year in there.
Yeah, it did come. It was just the next year in Cleveland.
And it got him on the cover of Madden.
Yep.
And you know, Zach, there's only one name I want to hear come from your lips right now.
Let's see what's here. We got Peyton Hillis on the board. I'm not going him because less than 400 rushing yards. We have Will Parks on the board, a big time fan favorite. Maybe I should go that route. We've got Connor McGovern. I don't think fan favorite, but very strong. I would never say anything against Connor McGovern. And we also, guys, have Chris Cooper, who was a long-time start, 5 or 6 year starter on the Broncos offensive line. Now one of their coaches, but guys, come on.
Yep.
7th round pick, the best, the most winning quarterback the Broncos have had since Peyton Manning left. Give me Trevor Siemian, baby.
Wow,
Let's go.
Thank you for staying on brand, Zach. Thank you.
Oh, man. I mean, a quarterback, the best. Is this the best value quarterback pick the Broncos have ever had?
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
he's already like a top 3 drafted quarterback in Broncos history. Am I wrong there? Like,
no. You got Jay Cutler, Tim
Mhm.
Tebow, maybe.
Trevor. I mean, Drew Lock is in the mix.
Yep.
Well, when you
Also,
look at,
Kale just not in his bag today when it comes to spelling. Siemian.
Don't put that disrespect on my guy, Trev. We can just call him Trev. Everyone knows who that is when it's associated with my name.
I didn't even put Trevor Siemian on my board.
No, I know you didn't. It fell perfectly to be the very last pick. Wasn't he the second to last pick in the draft?
That sounds about right. I've got it right here in front of me. Trevor Siemian. No. There were actually two other Broncos drafted right after him. It went Trevor Siemian, Torian Nixon, Josh Furman. The Broncos had 3 picks in a row in the 7th round.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is a nightmare.
I mean, the guy I was really intrigued by was Josh Furman. And but he was a tweener, safety kind of linebacker, but really did not flourish at either position, and he didn't even make it out of camp. Of course, remember with Torian Nixon, they had that thing for Tulane cornerbacks because they had Torian Nixon and they had Lorenzo Doss as well. So, but yeah, I mean,
I notably called Lorenzo Doss the heir to the throne in the no-fly zone. I was wrong about that.
Well, maybe he could still be the heir, just maybe a couple of years.
Yeah, or he's like, the heir in the sense that he's like he's like the Billy Madison, right? He's a screw up, but he's still the heir.
Right. Yep.
All right. Wow, this is going to be interesting to see who this one. I usually feel like I know who's going to win. I don't feel like I know this one. Wait, what was last week's draft?
We had
cities, road trip cities.
Yes,
right.
road
Who won?
trip cities.
Do you know who
Narrowly the
Zach
champion.
Oh,
You're
right. You
looking
finally
at
won
him.
one. I forgot.
Hey, whoa, I'm the champ right now.
Yeah.
You can't be talking about the reigning champ like that.
Yeah, you got the spring break Zach, as Adam calls you.
Yeah. You know something, Zach? One more thing about Trevor Siemian, as I was researching draft quarterbacks of the last few decades. 35 quarterbacks taken in round 7 since 1990. And Trevor Siemian, with 25 career starts, has more starts than all but 2 7th-round quarterbacks taken in the last 25 years. The ones with more are Matt Castle and Fitzmagic himself. That is good value for the pick.
Absolutely.
That is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Who's your prediction? Do you think you're going to win, Zach?
I think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to get enough Trevor Siemian people behind me to push me through.
Mace, do you think you're going to win?
I think I should win, but I also acknowledge that a draft that Elvis Dumervil is just far enough in the rearview mirror to maybe be a little bit forgotten, and that people maybe forget about how great Elvis Dumervil was as an edge rusher, and he was. And I would say that Von Miller maybe doesn't become Von Miller without Elvis Dumervil on the other side to kind of take the pressure off of Von early. And then, but people remember the facts thing. And that was no fault of his own. And it was, just a kind of colossal screw up on his agent's part, on a little bit on the Broncos' part for leaving it to the last minute. But that sticks in people's minds. And yet he was a great player for the Broncos while he was here. And you look back on, there were some shaky defenses while Elvis was here. And you looked at that, there were 2 great players for a while, and they were Elvis and Champ. And so I hope he gets love. Malik Jackson, I feel very strongly about him as a second round pick, but I think RK, you're going to win because you get Julius Thomas in there, and Julius is a sexy choice, even though he hated blocking with the fire of 1,000 suns. You remember what kind of weapon he was in the red zone? He was tremendous. There was that 2-year burst where he was basically uncoverable in the red zone.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think it'll be close. I think this will be our closest race yet.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. But wow, an hour and 45 minutes in. Die-hard pod fans will love this. This is going to wrap it up for us on another week of the DNVR Broncos podcast and another week of Three Ring Circus. Thank you to our guests. I say guests when it was really just Andre. Andre filled in for himself. He filled in for Henry, and he filled in for Brett. So shout out to Andre for coming through for us, and shout out to Green Mountain Dental Group for being the best damn family-owned dentist group in the metro area. Schedule a cleaning, X-ray, and exam, and get a free Sonicare toothbrush. And join the family over at Green Mountain Dental Group. But yeah, for my friends here, Mace and Zach, we thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.